I all hope this finds you well. There's 3 types of stretching that you need to know, okay? And this has worked throughout all of my career, really. If you go to a physio, he's going to be kind of doing one of them. If you go to prehab, he's going to be doing one of them. If you go to an endurance expert, etc., they're going to be doing 1 or 2 of them. These are the only kind of exercises that you need to do when you're kind of like pre-training, mid-training, and post-training, over individual sessions and over weeks and many months. Now, if you do all of your muscle groups every single day, there isn't enough time, and you're spending all your life stretching. So what I do is I come up with a plan. This is for everything I do. I call them protocols because it's easy for people to remember. I try and structure it so people can remember what they're doing, and that's why I put it into 3 different ones. Okay, so first one is warming up before your training. 10 to 15 seconds. So let's say 10 seconds, all right? I do 10-second stretches. And I also do dynamic stretching as well. So you do a little bit of a bounce or leg sweeps or whatever, leg swings, stuff like that, okay? So you can do dynamic types of stretching, which is stretch, 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 and it's a bit dynamic in nature. You're going into the stretch slightly to warm the muscle up and facilitate a little bit of movement in the muscle and getting it stimulated so it understands what it's going to be doing. You can do the 10-second stretches, and you're back into it, back out of it, back into it, back out of it, back into it, and you've done that on your hamstrings. And then do a little bit of dynamic stretching, you're off. You can do that while you're doing your warm-up, and that's what I normally do. And you do a little bit of dynamic stuff like side steps and high knees and heel flicks and increases of intensity. That's the same kind of thing, but whilst in motion. So that's number 1. So we could call those 10-second stretches or dynamic stretching. Number 2, working with your central nervous system to facilitate a little bit of warm down of the muscle and a little bit of stretching. But it's not permanent. It just really brings your material and your muscles back to a linear structure as it was before you went for a run. Because it's kind of bunched up in certain ways. That's why strength conditioning, you're reconditioning the muscles so they're good to go again. So how do you do that? Well, your central nervous system is like that. It holds on. It's like a brake with everything that you do. When you go too hard on your races and stuff like that, your body tenses up, all right? It's exactly the same in stretching. Do it right now. You can do this. You just go into a hamstring stretch, keep your legs straight, bend over, and work out where you are. A nice normal stretch. Do it for 10 seconds, come out, go in for 20 seconds, come out, and go in again. You don't even have to do 10, 20, 40 seconds. But my rule of thumb is do 10 seconds, then a 20 seconds, and then a 40 seconds. You will go into the stretch further. Even if you do it for 3 to 5 seconds, out, 3 to 5 seconds, out, 3 to 5 seconds, out, why can you go further down and all of a sudden after about the 3rd one it stops, and that's the maximum that you're going to be stretching really, unless you really go into a long-term stretch of like 60 seconds plus. It's because your central nervous system is saying, okay, this is safe, I can relax, I'm not going to snap, I'm not going to damage myself, all right? So you're working with your central nervous system. And what I normally do so people find it a lot easier and not spending hours stretching, because you can't be asked to do that at the end of a run or whatever session you're doing, is do 10 seconds, come out of it, go back into it, do 20 seconds, come out of it, and then do 40 seconds back into it. And it might be that you try and do that on your glutes, your calves, your hamstrings, and maybe your quads. That's a good start. And then once or twice a week, and I try and do this on their rest days, is I then do something along the lines of making sure your body's nice and warm. So maybe you've had a bath, maybe you've had a shower or whatever. You know, in winter it's a bit more, you're cutting around outside and you just decide you're going to do this. With cold muscles, it's a little bit different. So trying to warm your muscles through as much as you can as possible. And then you can go in for some longer term. And it might be that you've looked at some other videos of like uphill and downhill running and the type of kind of areas in your body that if they're a bit tight, you're going to struggle with that. You can look at that and go, do you know what, I'm going to do my glutes and I'm going to do hamstrings and quads today. And you spend a little bit more time. You might do something with like 10 seconds, 30 seconds, 1 minute, 1.5, 2 minutes. And if you can't do that, then maybe do a 20-second, a 1 minute, and a 2-minute stretch. What you find then, all right, is your central nervous system relaxes a little bit more, like we've said, and you're actually lengthening the muscle for a little bit longer term. So if you're doing this once, twice, 3 times a week, that is absolutely maximum that you need to do. Probably twice a week would be ample. And then what you're doing over many weeks of doing that is you're bringing your muscle into a roundabout way. You're bringing it to a really good quality natural state, and you're lengthening it. Some people might be CrossFitters, and I'm training them for selection, for example. I get them to do this all the time because they're CrossFitters, they're strength trainers, they're into powerlifting. They're shortening the muscle, and I want to lengthen muscles for doing bike work and like running and things like that, because that's the compromise, so that they don't get IT band issues and ligament and Achilles tendon issues and such things like that. So the 3 types of stretching, all right, and they're all for different things, But realistically, you should kind of be tapping into a little bit of all of them over an entire week. But don't overstretch. For the most part, people are stretching too much. If you've got a ligament issue or there's a bit of something going on, don't think that stretching is going to help it. You've got to look at my other videos for isometric work, static holds, etc., etc. Thanks for listening. Any more information, come and join us at Elite Outdoor Fitness.